this record. So yeah, so recording in process, and I think we can start. So Pьotr, please.
Okay, good afternoon to everyone. Can I share the screen? Taras, please let me.
Yes, 1 second.
Okay.
I think you can. I will make you a co-host, I think.
Okay, yes, now I see I can.
Yeah, great.
Okay, so I assume that you all hear me.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
And by now I hope that you will have a full view.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to everyone, and it is a pleasure for me to carry out this presentation today, and also to see some faces that I know, and among them, for example, William, Jacek, and Patrycja, as well as colleagues from the project. So the topic of the presentation is related to phytoremediation of polluted soils. That is also in the view of future cleaning of contaminated soils in Ukraine due to the war activities. Just for your brief information, to be honest, I am not sure how long will this speech last, and I also suffer from some infection and I have some little problems with throat, so I hope I will be able to speak what is necessary. So after some introduction, then we switch to the discussion of the problem of polluted soils and the remediation possibilities, showing the advantages of biological methods for soil remediation. And then I will try to share with you some of my little experience with phytoremediation during last 3 years. I always believe that such an occasion that we meet is also the possibility to share some information what we do, maybe in a perspective of future collaboration. And if there are some students, maybe they would be interested in coming for some scientific program to our university. So Gdańsk University of Technology, as you see, this is a very nice old main building of the university. This is one of the biggest universities in Poland and belong to the top 10 universities in Poland, and we have active programs for exchange of students like Erasmus, for example. To say few more words about me, my background is in chemical, let's say chemical systems for environmental protection, and also in chemical technology. And in my experience, I dealt with topics of flotation for wastewater treatment, and currently I'm mostly involved in waste air treatment using biofiltration. However, I have also some experience with phytoremediation as well as processing of biomass towards hydrogen. I am an assistant professor in the Department of Process Engineering and Chemical Technology at the Faculty of Chemistry, where we develop new ways of hydrogen production. This is a hot topic, as you know. Also processing of biomass towards value-added products. Some of our colleagues develop new synthetic fuels, and we also deal with, I would say broadly speaking, waste management issues. We as a department have taken part and led several projects, usually from the scientific projects from the Ministry of Poland, like from National Science Center, but we also have experience in European projects like the Interreg South Baltic projects, and some logos of some selected projects you can see in this slide. So if you find any in common with your areas of research, I'm open for some collaboration in the topic of phytoremediation or biofiltration. The problem of polluted soils is very important. this is because of the fact that the soil is a very specific compartment of the environment, and it is very rich in plenty of materials, we may say, also including water. The restoration of polluted soils is in fact governed by law, and this is kind of a must. For example, in Poland, this is regulated by environmental protection law, water law, or the law regarding agricultural and forestry lands. If we talk about the restoration of land, we use some terms like remediation, recultivation. We say that the land can be degraded or devastated. It can be agricultural or post-industrial land. So maybe in the beginning, I'd like to introduce some explanation of these terms and see what can be the approach and the place for phytoremediation, especially. So a remediation of soil is related to its restoring to the previous state. So the land is degraded. However, let's say we may say that this is like degraded land. For example, the crop yield is diminished, or the quality of the crop is diminished. However, the land can still play its natural function. When we talk about devastated land, then we say about lands that completely lost their utility value. Similarly, it could be, but usually temporarily, for post-industrial areas, which are degraded areas with no utility at the moment, or these are occupied with, for example, non-operating facilities. For such lands, we can perform so-called recultivation. So this is restoring the utility or natural values of the land by different activities like landscaping, improving physical and chemical properties, or water regulation. Obviously, the pollution of the environment is caused by the expansive activity of mankind, and it is related to all compartments of the environment. And as I mentioned, the remediation of environment for all of its compartments, this is usually a low obligation, but it is of course also for obviously for us and for our health, and if we talk about the sustainable approach, of course, for the future. In the beginning, I mentioned that the problem of polluted soil and the need of its cleaning is related especially to its specificity comparing to other compartments of the environment. Sometimes, and even not that many years ago that I was a student, that was a popular saying that the best solution for pollution is dilution. And to be honest, for some issues, this can still be regarded as a good solution. And sometimes, for example, due to technological or economic reasons, this is the only solution that can be taken up. But if we talk about self-cleaning of the environment, as you see on this simple graph, for air, due to the fact that it is a dynamic system, it may take a few days that the air at the local position would undergo self-cleaning. For water, it takes much longer. However, for soil, it may take even hundreds of years. Therefore, our activity is needed to improve the quality of the soil in a faster way. If we talk about the pollution of soil, on this slide, I listed three main groups of pollution. So the first is, these are the metals, and with a special focus of heavy metals. I listed here the most, would say, dangerous heavy metals that can be found in polluted areas. The other pollution refers to other inorganic and organic pollutants, including cyanides, but also all the organic pollution related to processing of crude oil and the hydrocarbons released from petrol operations, for example. Also volatile organic compounds, pesticides, fertilizers, and the problem of over-fertilization, obviously, for the soil. And depending on the type of the pollution, the remediation should be selected. However, the remediation must be a planned action. So-called remediation plans are prepared prior to the decision of the remediation of a given plant. This is also related to assessing the environmental impact of the pollution, of course, also on the works that are going to be done. Therefore, the selection of the remediation depends on plenty of factors. So not only the type of the type of the pollution, the concentration, but also it depends on the type of the soil, future use of the soil, cost of the treatment, the available technology, and what is important, what is permissible by law. The remediation, as I mentioned, will also be tuned to the use after the remediation. Therefore, there will be a different approach when we aim at agriculture or forestry applications, where we mean here mainly rather green areas or green grasses and forest areas rather than cultivation of vegetables, for example. But it can also be recreational use, restoration of natural habitats, residential areas, or we may decide that there will be no further use of the land. Talking about the soil remediation strategies, we may discuss the general approach for the remediation. So depending on the form of the pollutants and the type of pollutants, the remediation strategy may be to limit the migration of pollutants and to decrease their bioavailability for living organisms, but also immobilize them in order, for example, not to reach the groundwater. Sometimes we want to increase the pollutants mobility and for the purpose of, for example, extraction processes for the cleaning of the soil. Soil remediation may be done by biodegradation of organic pollutants, for example, but typically, especially for the land polluted with organic pollutants, we apply physico-chemical systems. This can be, for example, physical barriers mitigating the migration of pollutants. That could also be a self-cleaning approach if other options are, for example, economically not viable. Because I progressively try to go to the topic of phytoremediation. This is a kind of justification of the interest in the process of phytoremediation. Please take a look on this table where there is a comparison of basic facts related to the treatment, so the cost of cleaning of soil, the possible problems or the waste generated. So as you see, phytoextraction, which belongs to the phytoremediation option, is the cheapest option among the compared ones. With one drawback only, I would say this is the time of treatment. However, it is not that enormous, I would say, especially if we compare with the other methods that also usually take at least 1 year, because usually soil needs to be excavated, moved to some treatment facility, and then all the processes, or also including biological processes using microbes, simply takes time. So, in general, we may differentiate physical, chemical, or biological methods of soil remediation that may be applied in situ, so at the place of the contaminated soil, or ex situ, that is, we need to remove the soil from the the part of the land from the given location and treat it elsewhere. And the remediation may be to treat in order to degrade the pollutants and detoxify the soil, or to stabilize the contaminants not to be bioavailable. This can be done by methods like engineering or process methods. So the difference between this is that the engineering methods is just doing something at the place, usually removal the part of the soil, or making the isolation barriers. And there could also be applied some, we can call it novel technologies. So the technologies that do not go under the typical differentiation for physical, chemical. This could be, for example, photodegradation or vitrification process, which includes putting graphite that conducts electricity to the soil, and then putting the voltage which increases the temperature in the soil and makes the graphite to penetrate in the pores of the soil and to solidify and immobilize the pollutants. Selection of the remediation method, as it was also mentioned on some previous slide, depends on the characteristics of the pollutants, especially solubility in water and biodegradability. This would be one of the most important criteria, as well as characteristics of soil, like its composition, pH, and the size of the area to be treated, and the applicability of the method due to time, cost, or social aspects. Here, maybe just to list the main or the most popular methods for soil remediation. So under the physical methods for ex situ, we can list excavation and storage, incineration, thermal desorption, steam extraction, or separation of radioactive soil. While for in situ treatment, that could be steam extraction, that could be barrier systems, or some electro-cleaning. For the chemical methods, in fact, they in majority of cases they deal with the case of extraction, so that we want to remove a selected component of one system to the other. And usually it is done by washing of the soil. Also, washing of the soil, named soil flushing, can be done in situ, and I think this will be shown in some next slide. So other methods include the halogenation, chemical and photochemical oxidation of pollutants for ex situ methods, and for in situ that could be solidification, some sorption processes, and chemical immobilization. And the other group of the method, these are the biological methods, and for ex situ methods, this is composting and use of microbes in, for example, in the bioreactors, and this is always part of treatment of the soil in professional facilities doing that purposes. And we can also distinguish bioremediation and phytoremediation. The main difference between them is that in bioremediation, we concentrate on the use of microbes, while in phytoremediation, these are plants that are responsible for cleaning of soil. On this slide, I want just to show some example of physical-chemical methods of soil cleaning. So you may see, for example, on the left, that is the ex situ soil washing. I'd like to show you that all these operations are labor-intensive, energy-intensive, and multi-step, I would say. So for the contaminated soil taken from the point, we must transfer it to the treatment facility, and then it undergoes several physico-chemical processes and separations, also with the use of some bioreactors and other additives that we finally, after a given time, reach the cleaned soil. Therefore, if we compare the chemical or physical methods to the biological methods, where macroscopically we can see, for example, a tree or a plant, and this is it, and we can observe that nevertheless the soil is highly polluted, the plant is growing. For physical methods, we need, as I mentioned, in a lot of devices, a lot of work, energy, and usually money for investment and also for the operation. In terms of chemical methods, we usually move the contaminant from the soil to the other compartments, for example, some solution of or a solvent. Therefore, this still needs to be further processed. Therefore, biological methods seem to be not only cheap, but also simple, and nevertheless, the longer time of treatment, this could be taken into consideration for those who have a problem with polluted soil. Because I deal with, as I mentioned in the beginning, with biofiltration issues and also having some experience with phytoremediation, I believe that the nature-based solutions can really come up for us in the future, and in cooperation with other processes, this could be a very good solution to the problem of environment pollution. On this picture, maybe William in the discussion session will say us more. This is the Orrefors Park in Sweden that was generated in the historically polluted areas with heavy metals due to the glass production. So for the areas that were completely degraded, we can say the option is, for example, the phytoremediation, which gives us also not only the effects of cleaning the soil, but we are not destroying the soil structure. The aesthetic effects are highly improved. We can plan to use the plants, for example, that can have an energetic valorization, and we are using sustainable and environmentally friendly method. So now we are going to switch, mentioning the general methods of soil treatment, including mainly the physical, chemical or mixed, and biological methods, just to these biological methods. Within this, we can distinguish three main groups of methods. So this is phytoremediation, bioremediation, and biology. Phytoremediation, that would be the use of plants for remediation of the environment, and it can cover soil, water, and air also. Bioremediation, this is the use of microbes to remove pollutant or to transform the pollutants to less harmful forms, also for soil, water, and air. Biology, that could be the removal of metals by microbes through different processes. Biological methods offer a broad application spectrum. As given previously, they also offer low costs in comparison with other methods, and they are highly accepted by the public. In the case of phytoremediation, we should also remember that we increase the production of oxygen and we consume carbon dioxide. However, there are some drawbacks, not only the time of treatment, which is also dependent on the concentration of the pollution. For example, if we do the phytoextraction of heavy metals from the soil, then the obtained biomass can be regarded as a dangerous waste and it needs to be further processed in accordance with law. Therefore, the processing and the cost of the processing of such dangerous biomass could be problematic, and this process is obviously climate and weather dependent. Phytoremediation was initially described in the 18th century, and now we understand this like this little figure on the top, like some correction or remediation by the plant. However, the process seemed to have many advantages. Its full-scale applications, I would say, these are still limited. However, we can discuss about some application. And phytoremediation, however, it can also be used for water and air cleaning, is of special importance for the treatment of soil as the richest compartment of the environment. And just to try to explain the idea of the process, we may say that the phytoremediation works by some physiological response of the plant to the environment in which it is placed. Yes, and different. We may observe different phenomena. For example, when we discuss the soil polluted with metals, then depending on the plant species, we may differentiate, for example, hyperaccumulators, indicators, or excluders. Hyperaccumulators have the tendency to accumulate the metals in the aerial plans of parts. This means that the metals are removed from the soil to the above ground parts to the biomass. Metal indicators can serve like an indicating species for metal contamination in the soil, and they have such a physiological response to the metals in the soil that the concentration in the plant will be comparable to that in the soil. We can have excluders, so these are the plants that have developed some functions that they do not take up the metals from the soil, at least to some level of metal concentration, or to introduction of other engines that would change the their accumulation of the metals. Phytoremediation is mainly concerned for treatment of inorganic pollution, that is metals. However, metals cannot be biodegraded, cannot disappear, but as it was shown for hyperaccumulators, for example, metals are taken up from the soil and go to the above ground parts, and then they are harvested as a biomass. We can use also the plants to treat organic pollution. However, this is usually or almost always related to the use of microbes. We can have some effects of earth treatment. We may say a kind of an air filtration from volatile organic or inorganic compounds via stomata of the plants. So by saying this, I also want that you get similar impression like me, that the phytoremediation, however, having some obvious backgrounds related not only to the time or climate dependence, but also to the kind of pollution. They have really many advantages, and in many areas, for example, in some industrial areas that are not currently exploited or there are no buildings and facilities, then we may apply phytoremediation by simply planting the plants to improve the quality of the soil and air in the same time. Phytoremediation is a general term describing the use of plants to treat soil, as we may say. However, there are several, I would call this mechanisms of the process that show different specific features and allow for different results when using the phytoremediation process. So among these, I would like to mention phytoextraction, phytovolatilization, phytodegradation, phytostabilization, rhizodegradation, and rhizofiltration. Usually these processes that I will more deeply describe in a moment, these are related to the different parts of the plants, but also to the different mechanisms and different kind of pollution. We may also do the differentiation of the mechanisms of phytoremediation depending on the fact whether the pollutants are removed from the environment, that is at least from one compartment of the environment, or are we stabilizing the pollutants at the place where they exist, or which is a very good option if we also consider that the degradation of pollutants is possible. This division of mechanisms of phytoremediation can be also presented in some graphical form. So you may see that, for example, phytovolatilization would be taking up the contaminants from the soil, for example, and transferring to the above ground parts and removal to the air. While, for example, phytostabilization will be related to the interactions between the root zone of the plants, soil, and the contaminants, and the result of the phytostabilization will be a decrease of mobility of the contaminants by substances secreted by the root system. So the first process of phytoremediation, or the first mechanism, that would be the phytoextraction. So as I mentioned, the pollutants represented usually by metals and by heavy metals are taken up by the root system and are transferred to the above ground parts of the soil. Accumulation of the microelements in the plants is higher than the required levels for the plant functioning, we may say. So the plants tolerate and also accumulate the metals. The mechanism involves secretion of so-called exudates by roots, which dissolve pollutants and make them accessible to plants, and depending on the pollution type and the plant, for example, that could be a different behavior and different effectiveness of the process depending on the pH of the soil, because that would affect the type of substances that are extracted by the root system. So some example, for example, Helianthus annus in a greenhouse pot experiment for cadmium uptake. It was found that the cadmium concentration in the one of the parts of the plant was several times higher. I mean, in the stomata and above ground parts than in the root system. For the purpose of phytoextraction, the hyperaccumulators mentioned in the beginning are of special importance. So these are the plants that can that have the ability to accumulate, to tolerate, and to transfer the pollution, the metals, from the soil through the root system to the above ground part of the plant. As mentioned, plants must be able to tolerate or even to hypertolerate high levels of trace elements, especially in the shoot cells. So as you see, may lead even to the death of some worms, saying in a funny way. The other process is phytostabilization. Phytostabilization is achieved by a secretion of chemical compounds by plants that result in stabilization of pollutants in the soil. So maybe we should concentrate on this magnification of the root system zone. So phytostabilization includes no degradation of pollutants, but their stabilization due to absorption and accumulation in roots, or sometimes precipitation of pollutants in the rhizosphere as a result of exudates secreted by the root system, that they become not mobile and simply precipitate and cannot be uptaken by the plants and other living organisms. For example, Lupinus albus was found to accumulate heavy metals mostly in the root nodules. The other mechanism of phytoremediation is phytodegradation. In this case, we talk about uptake, accumulation, and degradation of organic pollutants inside plant tissues due to secretion of endogenic enzymes. Such examples of plants that can be regarded as phytodegraders, this could be potatoes or populus. Especially for this purpose, also the mechanism that we can either talk about it collectively or separately is the rhizodegradation. So this is also related to the root system and consists in secretion by roots of the substances that facilitate microbial development and the microbial activity in the soil. And these are the microbes that degrade the pollutants, but the conditions for their living and action is much better in the presence of selected plants. The other mechanism is phytovolatilization. So this is the uptake of pollutants, of course, that are in the available form. So this is the uptake with water and transpiration of them through stomata to the atmosphere. Sometimes, like for example, the case given here with trichloroethylene is the possibility of taking it from the soil and releasing in the unchanged form to the atmosphere. Sometimes due to the maybe the dynamics of the process, it is we can consider it like transferring the pollution from one compartment of the environment to another, but sometimes this could be regarded as a positive effect, and the technology may be fitted to make use of this mechanism of phytoremediation. I think one also of maybe not the very popular, but with increasing popularity, this is the mechanism of rhizofiltration. So this is the treatment of, I would say, water bodies or wastewaters with the use of plants. So the root exudates and microorganisms enhance bioavailability, or can even lead to the precipitation of metals, for example, in the water body. Then the pollutant uptake is mediated and driven by different pathways like apoplastic and symplastic. And metals are then chelated by metal binding ligands, phytokeratins and metallothioneins, and pollutants are either sequestered in the cell vacuoles and or bound to the cell wall. For example, hydroponic installations that can aim both for treatment of water and to improve their quality are using the mechanism of rhizofiltration. For example, Helianthus annus for removal of, as I see, uranium from the water body. That was 24 hours that 80% of the initial concentration of uranium in the solution was removed. And some examples for the phytoremediation applications. On this slide, you can see the use of Salix viminalis to remove heavy metals and other organic pollutants in a perspective of about 10 years. So you can see that for, of course, with a different efficiency, but for all both metals as well as other pollutants, we observe that a decrease of their concentrations, sometimes reaching 10-15% of the initial value was reached during this phytoremediation time. For the case of flotating wetlands, for example, to clean stormwater, the dynamics of the process is even much faster. You can see here the changes in concentration of lead and zinc by different plant species that was reached almost a full removal within 120 hours. So these systems using the rhizofiltration mechanism can act much faster than the typical systems for the soil. And I mentioned that there are not plenty of real-life full-scale applications of the phytoremediation. However, we can mention about at least several. For example, in Chernobyl, sunflowers were applied to remove cesium and strontium, and in this application, 90% reduction of contamination was achieved within 10 days. That was especially for water treatment. In Detroit, phytoremediation was applied to fight with lead contamination by the Chrysler, concerned with great success. In Poland, phyto extraction of heavy metals is practiced to treat the sewage sludge, also to restore landfill sites and post-mine territories. Initially, we were talking that we must select the method to treat the soil, and it depends on several factors. Of course, phytoremediation would obviously need to be tuned with respect to the type of pollution, and also the plant selected for that purpose is of crucial importance. The perfect plant is the one that is fast and easily growing, doesn't need too much care during the cultivation, is characterized by good adaptability, offers high biomass yield, high tolerance to contaminants, and if possible, offers also some added value effects, like, for example, for energy plants that can be also a very good hypoaccumulators, so reaching very good results of phyto extraction, and may also serve for example, for energy purposes afterwards. Why I am here is related to phytoremediation project called Baltic Phytoremediation, and the project was co-financed by Interreg South Baltic program. The leader of the project was William Holland, and during some of the seminar we met with Valerie, and that is why I was invited to this project. Please do not consider this like any advertisement, but I just want to show you that if you are interested in these issues from us, both practical and maybe a theoretical viewpoint, in this project we generated some nice outcomes, I believe, and this is available for you if you visit the web page of the project. For example, in this project we developed a training module using the e-learning platform at Gdańsk University of Technology, where after logging in you can find all the information that I presented and much more, also including concrete examples with results and further evaluation. The result of the project is also a book in a form of the guidelines that you can also find some theory and exemplary results. Also, there is one section devoted to law regulations, which is really important in treatment of soil and doing any activity, and this differs from country to country. In this project, there were 3 so-called pilot cases. So that was the installations to test the potential of phytoremediation. And in the case of Gdańsk, the pilot case was installed on the territory of a municipal waste rendering plant. And we concentrated exactly on the removal of selected metals from soil, selected because that was governed by the analytic purposes, and we were using for that purpose giant miscanthus. You can see on this little picture the overview of the pilot case, which comprised of the experimental field, that is here, greenhouses for cultivation of Miscanthus gigantus in model conditions, and some very, I would say, maybe not very little, but a field laboratory for basic, for having a possibility to do basic activities for the samples. In this experiment, because we can concentrate on the plot experiment, we divided the plot into 4 parcels. One parcel was a control field, so with no additives there. At 2 parcels, we were adding the soil improver So this is the product generated by the treatment facility as a result of processing of biofraction of waste, and on the one of the plot that was a highly polluted soil that we can say anthropogenically modified, really highly polluted, especially with heavy metals. You can see some pictures from the time span of the project. So we selected such a place with the green grass that we thought is really nice, and there would be nothing, no interesting effect of doing any experiments. However, by scrubbing the top layer, in fact, few centimeters of the grass, it came out that the territory is really highly polluted and contains different types of soil and different types of waste. At this moment, we also had an impression that this could be a typical case all around Europe and all around the world, that, for example, at the territories of such rendering plants, now they have new buildings and new technologies. However, still there is a landfill, and many of the territories at the facility also used to be a part of the landfill. Therefore, they still may be heavily polluted, and the option of remediation is especially advantages for such applications, because this can also increase the aesthetics, but also all in all improve the state of the environment. Just to show a few examples, because we were dealing with giant miscanthus, and we were from the beginning also interested in a kind of evaluation and connection of phytoremediation to some a recovery of energy, for example, from the biomass. Therefore, we investigated how the heat of combustion may depend on the conditions where the giant miscanthus were grown, and we also obtained in the consecutive years of the project increasing crop yields, and the highest crop was obtained for the field where was the highest dose of the soil improver. Interestingly, we obtained a slightly higher yield in the highly contaminated soil than in the soil that was found at place there. In this project, there were also two other pilot cases located in Lithuania and in Sweden. To the left, we have some pictures from the Lithuanian pilot case, where they concentrated on the use of sewage sludge and their effects on accumulation of heavy metals and also of the plant growth. Maybe in this it is not that clearly seen, however, maybe you can see here for the grasses, but being there, and they also had a giant miscanthus. The height of the plant was clearly differentiated according to the concentration of the sewage sludge put into the soil. Of course, with the highest dose of the sewage sludge, the crop was the highest. In Sweden, the pilot case was also installed on, in fact, on the topsoil of a landfill in NSR facility in the Helsingborg, and they were interested in finding out the possibility of reducing the nutrient levels, so mainly nitrogen and phosphorus, using this option. And this information with some evaluation, more photos and results of the pilot cases, you can find on the web page for the process. And I'm looking at the clock, and we are approaching about 1 hour of my talking. And just to sum up, I believe that depending on the type of pollution and on the available resources, talking about money, time, future applications, nature-based solutions, that is phytoremediation, could be a very good option, because that could be used for nutrients recovery and nutrients management, and closing the loop of nutrients circulation in the environment. That could be the possibility of carbon sequestration. That could offer the possibility to produce, for example, bioproducts, and in the same time to increase not only the quality of soil, but also for water and for air. So with this, I'd like to finish my presentation. And I think now we can move to hearing your opinions and maybe questions. And finally, I wanted to wish you a nice time in the coming future, but I think we will have time for that.
Thank you, Pьotr. Thank you very much for your brilliant lecture. And I personally, I know a lot from my past knowledge of chemistry, but phytoremediation is very new to me. So my question may be very stupid, but each technology produces waste. So phytoremediation is not exclusion. So we producing, I mean, we getting some materials like potato, carrot, and other food like sunflowers. So what shall you do with those material that contain the waste in more concentrated area, I mean, scale, and it is more dangerous than the soil. So what are the cycle of your technology?
Yes, I hope that if I'm wrong or not able to answer properly, Jacek may assist, but I may say that we haven't been developing a full technology in the project. Of course, the heavy metals in the plants, their concentration is increased. Therefore, we need to harvest them, and then we have a biomass containing metals. But this can be, for example, properly burned for energetic purpose, and the metals, I know that some of them will also go to air, but they could be mainly included in the ash, and then they can be taken from the ash, or that is what William used to say, we can store it for next generations in a form of a kind of a bio-ore, for example. Yeah. So this is true that we are not, at least for the typical phyto extraction process, we are not, how to say, completely solving the problem of pollution. Here, a little digression for example, biofiltration of air that I'm dealing with, then biofiltration of air. So this consists in passing of air through the layer of packing, which is inhabited by microbes. And then the microbes consume, for example, volatile organic compounds, and the air leaving the biofilter is free of them, or maybe with some increased concentration of carbon dioxide comparing to the typical air concentration. So then we have a, I would say, complete cycle or complete solving of the problem. Now I'm trying to connect phytoremediation and biofiltration. So if we put this carbon dioxide to flowers, then they grow much better. Yeah, but really for phytoremediation, it is true that this is a kind of a transfer of pollution from one compartment of environment to the other, but much more easily to be managed.
Okay, thank you very much. And my role is moderating those question and answer sessions. So I encourage our students to ask questions, please. And whenever you start to do that, let me ask my questions. The second question is about phytovolatilization. It's very interesting issue because I didn't see the samples in the typical pollutants, persistent organic pollutants. And this is the issue in Ukraine because we do have a lot of fires, and persistent organic pollutants presumably be the one of the target for using phytoremediation. The question is, phytovolatilization looks like a possibility to produce a grasshopper's effect. So the persistent organic pollutants, they are very persistent. And when you allow them to volatilize and then to move to another area, it is not very good to the collecting persistent organic pollutants. So I don't know a lot about those plants, but possibly it makes a problem to use those type of phytovolatilization in our country. So it is actually not a question. This is kind of discussion. Possibly you can discuss and share your thoughts. What shall we do with persistent organic pollutants? And my other question is about the following: whether you have a possibility or not possibility. Did you study possibility to extract such heavy metals like gold, like silver from the sewage sludge?
I personally didn't. Maybe Jacek, if you can add.
This is phytomining. Phytomining.
Yeah, exactly.
We have special plants and special microorganism, bacterium, to solution, gold and silver and metals, rare
metals.
Rare metals, yes.
Right,
yes.
right, rare metals.
Phytomining, but phytomining is not popular methods in Poland. I don't know what is in Ukrainian. I don't know. I cooperate with Kazakhstan and Valentina Pidlislunik.
Pidlisnuk. I know her.
She works in Czech Republic, but she from Ukrainian.
Yeah, I know her. We graduated from the same university, from the same department.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know her.
I'm sorry. Yes, Pidlislunik work study on miscanthus. I recommended plants to phytomining and to contamination in Ukrainian. It is intercrop. Intercrop. Do you know intercrop?
No.
This is intercrop. This is special plants. Such as, for example, I cultivation sunflower with Virginia mallow. Intercrop. This is very intercrop. I connect plants in contamination in soil with microorganisms. I select special plants, sunflower, Helianthus tuberosus. Helianthus annus is maybe very good in Ukrainian because Helianthus annus, Helianthus tuberosus, miscanthus, amaranthus, and others special. I have to connect
Interesting.
2 and 3 plants, and I have to add microorganisms, to phytomanning, to phytoextraction, to improve phytoextraction, heavy metal, and from the soil.
Great.
Intercropping is recommended maybe speak William. William is
Yeah. I think that this discussion should be prolonged, and possibly it may be a new subject of study, possibly in another grant or kind of scientific approach, because it is very important to Ukraine.
Yes.
And there are different areas. For example, sewage sludge, which has a lot of contaminated materials due to our outdated system to clean the municipal water. And municipal water has a plant water, and plants, plants producing. Well, this is another. Let me ask people. So, Ruslan, would you like to ask a question, please?
Thank you, Valery. I really like to ask Pьотr from some reasons. No, first of all, I impression by your presentation. It's very absolutely relevant for Ukraine because we are now we are facing on many problems with pollution from Russia aggression and many environmental problems, many environmental challenges we have as a result of Russia aggression, and maybe you know about many territories, many areas that are polluted as a result of missiles attack, of sharings and something like that. And also we have many problems with destroyed oil terminals, especially previous year was very difficult in this direction, and last winter Russia destroyed many our oil terminals, and there are many young people, many students there, and unfortunately we leave there many problems, many environmental, ecological problems. And I would like to ask you, would you recommend us, and them and our students some technology that we can use in near future to clean, to restore our environment after Russia aggression. And maybe you can some experience to the pollution military sites in Poland or other European country.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you
Please.
for this comment and problematic, arising problematic issues to be solved. To be honest, I have a little experience with managing of the polluted lands. I believe that in your case, there will be at least local or national plans how to treat the soil, and definitely for such a purpose it would not be possible to omit the physical or chemical methods, including some maybe in the beginning doing some barriers, but definitely separation of the oily fractions from the soil, because I think this is one important case. The other would be definitely the metals and all the pollution related to the war activities. But as I mentioned, probably there will be some national or even international cooperation and plans to do. And I believe that, of course, as always, it is the case of money. But in many places, you definitely these typical methods would be of use. However, in a future perspective, phytoremediation, I think this is a very also very good solution, and hopefully that would be the possibly shortest time to start coping with the problem.
Thank you, Pьotr. And now, William, do you hear me? Please, the floor is yours. I see that you raise a hand, and please.
Thank you, Valerie. And first of all, I want to thank Pьotr for an excellent presentation and deep presentation of the subject. It's an important subject and so on. And you were wondering here why it's not more popular. And the reason is often that it takes a long time to use it. And maybe also that it's used more than you think about. First of all, I want to tell that I started to work both with Poland and Ukraine on an early stage. In Poland, it was Professor Piotr Kowalik I started with, and I started with Ukraine, also with Felix, and I have worked now with Valerie and so on. And already in 2007, I had my garden at home filled with students from Ukraine, and we started up remediation project. But let's see what we have already today. I mean, remediation can be, we talk about remediation of air, we talk about water, and we talk about soil. And this that we are talking today more about also treatment of air, I think is very interesting. And when I travel around now, you could see even on motorways and beton fundaments in the cities and on the roads, you have plants on the beton walls to clean the air and so on. And this is, for me, rather positive that we can see it in Mexico, for instance, and other parts of the world. So it's coming, and we have it also indoors. I mean, at my university in Linnaeus in Sweden, we have it on the wall there, and I'm sure that you have modern buildings also in your country where we use this technology indoors. And even for water treatment, you have it indoors. You can use the water from the bathroom and so on, and lead it to flower beds and so on and use it. And for water, I mean, on an early stage, we started with that. We already in the 1980s, we started to treat water, leachate water from landfills and so on with plants, and we made rivulets on the landfills to treat it. And I mean, we have also stormwater ponds and so on. I think all your countries has a lot of stormwater ponds where we use plants to treat the stormwater. And some of you maybe also play golf and so on. And there you have ponds also. And there you have floating islands with different types of plants and so on that you can use for a certain time. And then you lift these islands and so on out of and take care of it. But of course, you must take care of it. And for instance, incinerate it and so on. And most engineers and politicians believe that the nature and the phytoremediation make it itself, nature take care of it itself. It's not like this. It's like at home, you must talk to your plants to have good plants in the window and so on. You must take care and treat the phytoremediating site in a good way. Otherwise, you don't get a sufficient result and a fast result, because we want to make it fast. But sometimes it's not so very, we have time, for instance. We have started to use, for instance, lavender and so on. And I mean, some areas can stand there for 10 years, 20 years or something. And you can stand a blue ocean with lavender, for instance. So not every time you need to have this very fast remediation. And then we have now soil remediation and so on. We take away landfills and so on. And then here again, we must take care of the plants. And we can't destroy the metals and so on. It's there, but incinerated. And now somebody mentioned my bank account cells, and that's not a joke. I mean, we can now start to sort the metals, for instance. If you have a copper plants and so on, then you know that there's high degrees of copper, and then you put plants there to take up the copper, and then you put it perhaps to a copper bank account cell, and that can be very useful for the coming generation. Perhaps not a problem for them, instead as a resource, because we don't know what kind of metal they need for the future. And it's better to have it in cells at the landfill. And we need to go mining deeper and deeper into the ground. And now we have started to discuss even to go to the deep sea and try to mine rare earth metals and so on. And I'm here in the rainforest. We destroy the rainforest and the rich fauna there. But we don't know anything about the deep oceans, the life, the biodiversity there. We have not any clue about that. So we can destroy in the deep sea much more than what we have destroyed in the rainforest. And then we can use these bank accounts. No, sorry, I have talked too much. Thank you for the word.
No. That's great. Thank you. Thank you for conversation. And we still have 6 minutes for a question-answer section. If you wish to ask any question, please do that, because after that we can make a discussion and make.
Yeah, Valery, we have question in chat.
Really? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't follow. So, my question is, what factors? Just the first question which I see. This is a question to Pьotr. My question is, what factors where is it, should be considered when choosing plants for phytoremediation, particularly in the context of post-war soil restoration in Ukraine?
Okay, I see that Jacek is already putting some comment to that in the chat. Obviously, it depends on the type of pollution found in the soil. Therefore, there should be some evaluation of the soil sample for its composition, and then based on that, we can select appropriate plant species. There is obviously a broad spectrum of plants with identified effectiveness in cleaning the soil using a given phytoremediation mechanism. Therefore, this would also need to be taken into consideration. What effect do we want to achieve, either the stabilization or the removal from the soil, or we want to include some microorganisms and reach in the same time the degradation of pollutants. Therefore, in fact, all the issues related to the physicochemical properties of the soil, of the native soil, and also for the contaminants should be taken into account, and then the proper plant, either fast growing or rather the very tolerant, fast growing or very beautiful. That would be my suggestion for that.
Yeah, thank you. And I can add 2 words, that we have to select plants which are typical to Ukrainian land, to Ukrainian climate, because you have your personal experience in Gdansk, but Ukraine is more the south area, and there is a different plants and different possibilities to use them. So it needs to be studied and more or less oriented for different type of pollutants, because pollutants are very, very broad meaning. Heavy metals, organic compounds, volatile compounds, persistent compounds, and others. So we do need to specify what kind of pollutants will be produced during the war exercises. And then to select, for example, oil spills. Yes, sure, they should be. For example, nitrates and other pollutants that rise up during explosions and so on. So it is very, very broad area. So my idea is to expand this conversation, possibly in another section or in Zoom meeting, to produce a kind of grant proposal to donors to find out the money for future investigation. And we should think about economical issues, because we do need to attract some stakeholders, for example, farmers, for example, big agriculture farms, which need to produce food and sell this production. So we might be more precise in getting their privilege or getting their benefits. Like, you can produce more foods which doesn't contain those actually it's the issue of quality of land. So we can put this issue saying we can produce more clean land and you can grow up more cleaner production and earn money in the market for the market. So be more specific in our proposals. So there are some questions, I'm sorry, and we do have still time for kind of fertilizers. This is an answer. Jacek, thank you. Yeah.
I think, but we have to use special fertilizer. Fertilizer, urea, nitrogen, and stabilization, and inhibitor urases. We have to increase yield to extraction. We have to use fertilizer and with stabilization and inhibitor urases and other special components, but I can write. I'm sorry. My English is
Anyway, this is the very beginning of our discussion, and the main idea of those projects was to introduce phytoremediation to the audience, to our students, to people who might be more interested in study and exploration and in future cleaning up of the territory. So I think that is very beginning of the project, and thank you, Ruslan, for doing that, because it is the project that National Environmental Center of Ukraine running specifically to these purposes. So actually we completed our section.
Yes,
and,
yeah,
please. Yeah, sure.
I have one problem, because we have to use agriculture precision to phytoremediation. Agriculture precision in Ukrainian, because in Ukrainian is grow land to phytoremediation after war.
Yeah.
We have to precision. Do you know precision? Agriculture.
Not yet.
This is special methods for application, fertilizer, and precision. This is good methods for improve remediation for grow land areas. We have to learn from USA and from Sweden, I don't know, from German, to apply agriculture precision to remediation, phytoextraction. This is a good idea to improve phytoextraction, pollutants from the soil. Okay,
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. So we are coming to the end of our session, and I'd like to thank you people, and specifically Pьотr, for your a brilliant lecture, and thank you, William, for assisting us and for your comments, and thank you, Jacek, that you also with us. I suggested that this is not last, but we need to make a schedule for a future conversation, for a future dialogue with Polish, Swedish, and other European countries because this is very touchy subject to us. Thank you very much. So
Thank you.
Thank you all for participation, for this truly amazing seminar and your active participation. I think we can finalize our seminar, and I just want to remember that also for all participants that you can take part in winter preparation school. So and all active participants, yes, can apply. We will share the information about winter preparation school and how you can apply very soon. And also we are waiting for you in the next seminars about water management and about communication on climate changes. Thank you so much for everyone, and see you in further seminars.
Mhm.
Thank you.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Have a nice evening. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.
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 Bye bye.